Just one quick addendum to the last one, not having to do with the RPC, but I guess I can put this elsewhere. Remember I said that, get rid of that again, that if I went and open that file, let's remember the directory, right? That even though the program's still running, I can go and I can delete that directory, right? Now the question is, if I say new, where should it take me? Well, the answer to that, and the answer that I hope somebody at Microsoft or something is watching, or any software vendor, will typically what happens when that last directory doesn't exist, and the default with the open file name dialog is to take you to the directory where the program is located. You know, program files, typically program files, which well, A is useless generally. You don't typically want to open a file in there because you're not allowed to edit them anyway. And even worse for me, it's on a drive that I never use for opening files and doing stuff. My answer to that is this. Okay, now it found that directory couldn't exist, so it went up one level and found that this directory does exist. If this directory didn't exist, then it would have brought me here. Okay, until it goes until it finds the root. The logic, wherever it is, there's that. Oh, it's in the quick list project, I suppose. It's not there. Like maybe I did the right thing and put it in those dialogues are in here. Yeah, here it is. If the recall last path setting happens to be on, and I find a path in the registry, and there is it, and it's not empty, but the file doesn't exist, then I go into this loop. While file doesn't exist and not root, then I take off, going backwards, cut off to the next slash. So the path in the reverse direction is a directory path. Now I suppose I should cut off the last slash first. It doesn't matter, it works out the same. But I can speed it up. Left or right? Right. I just hit a keyboard macro, which hasn't been loaded into memory yet. The reason for this kind of slowness has directly to do with COM. Okay, so because all of my directories end with a slash, so the first stir toke is just going to return the initial name without a slash, which will come back as not existing. Then that will be removed, and the next slash to I can run through this. Close that. I still have it in here. Yeah. I think it's already the right value. Quick list, dialog, open file is this, okay, MP3, which I just deleted it. This recall setting is just a boolean that is set externally. You can turn it on or off, right? It's not, this setting is not stored anywhere. It's something that you turn on or off when you declare and use one of these things. There are two, a save file name struct and an open file name struct class. And the behavior of that recall thing depends on the on which of those structs you use. Not exactly the same. No. Right. So we should end up in here when I go to select a new file. Okay, so last path is temp mp3. It doesn't exist, and it's not root. So if I just go to this one, let's say I didn't have that thing, and do a string toke, that'll just get rid of the slash. Oh no, it didn't. Oh, okay. Now why is that? Oh, that's true. That's true. I don't know if that's correct. I think that that behavior is mimicking the runtime library's string toke function, which does not return you. It never returns a empty string. Empty meaning having no characters. It could return, spaces. The thing that you're string toking with respect to, right? It will never return. So it'll never return to me any anything containing a slash. So the return thing here, mp3 doesn't contain a slash. So actually, I don't actually need this. I won't put it in if I don't need it. You know how stir toke works, right? One imagines that a string is composed of tokens delimited by delimiters. And when you call string toke, the runtime library string toke, it's a thing you call once and then you call it repeatedly again with the same string. And each time you call it, it returns to you either null, meaning it's finished, or one of the tokens, and no delimiters, never a delimiter, never an empty string. That's how it works. I just thought I'd add that on the end. Okay. So that's the algorithm that you should use, by the way, because if you go with the default, I can show you what the default is. First I gotta restore the directory. The default, which has nothing to do with my code, I can invoke the default by not using this recall setting, because there's an internal recall provided by the operating system, and by turning off my own recall, maintaining or maintenance, that should invoke the default. Don't turn this on. This is how it's used. You declare it, you pass in a reference to a registry object where it's supposed to store whatever data it may store. And if you don't supply this, star.star will be the default for file filter. So the operating system should remember where I went last time. cd temp. But it hasn't. It's put me here in because I don't know why. But let's see what happens. If I go to this folder, select that. Program's still running. If I run this again, it should take me back there. Where did it put me now? Okay. I see. Now the reason it's taking me back here is because that's where the program is, and because I made that fix, right? To not leave it, what the operating system does is it changes I think you can turn the behavior off. It changes the current directory. If I took away that code to return the current directory back to a safe place, I will get the default behavior. This is for open. Now it's safe. Come on, which one? Save. Save. Okay. Here's the open file name. I get rid of this. All this is doing is calling the regular GetOpenFileName, right? And it may be saving some stuff to the registry, but it's not altering current directory or anything like that. And that's how probably most implementations, if anybody's ever written a wrapper around this or just called it, they would just use the returned value and forget about it. As you should. You should trust that the function behaves correctly, right? However, that leaves you with the problem that I think can be disabled by flag. Okay, so here I am here. I go to temp. I go here and I select the file. No, it's not. It's finished. The next time it should take me back there. And it has, right? Now the reason it's taken me back here, obviously, has to do with the one thing I just changed, which is the current directory. The reason it takes you back to the last spot, right, even though I haven't specified anything, is because that's the current directory. Unless I'm setting, I might be setting it, but it has to do with the current directory. Get current, that could be right. Oh yeah, it is my fault. What if I didn't do that? I just don't specify this. What happens? Recall setting is on, and I'm just not specifying any initial directory. I believe either it maintains the last directory or it uses the current directory. I won't know until I run this experiment. Yeah. Okay, compiled. The initial there is just no, I think. It might take me immediately there. It has. You see that? So, not specifying, I can show you what I get by running it again. Oh. Here's the open file name structure. I've given as the file name just the patterns of the patterns selected from the filter list. I found that if you don't put anything there, then that can lead to a lot of confusion. The initial directory, no default extension, was initial directory. Here, just no, okay? And that struct is then being passed directly into GetOpenFileName. Now, I didn't pass in anything to do with dtemp mp3, and yet it still went there. So therefore, I believe it follows that the operating system has maintained that value somewhere. Now the question is, can I delete that directory? Yes. So the operating system has maintained it, and but it's not leaving us hanging in there, as I would have done previously by setting the current directory. Now I try it again. Where does the operating system take us? It has taken us to where we don't want to go, which is where the program is located, right? So the best place that would normally be for most programs, that would leave you somewhere in here, right? You're staring at C program files, program, and it has nothing to do with your data, right? So that's no good. That's the incorrect behavior. The correct behavior is, okay, that directory didn't exist, but that's probably more or less where that person would like to open a file from, right? This is a much higher. There's a possibility that this is the right area, but there's no possibility that this is the right spot, right? So therefore, you go with a spot that might be correct rather than the spot that is guaranteed to be incorrect. And the fact that I use the current directory, probably not. I should not do this. In the case where there's where the recall setting is off, it should do the Microsoft default. Let's see what I do. No, this is better. The reason being, this syntax file. I'll do this. Okay, and now I'll do Control O. Where should it take me? Well, it's taken me to the same directory that I just opened this file in, right? And the reason it's taken me there is because I typically use if I don't know any better, I use the current directory, whatever it happens to be, right? The current directory, because I opened a file in this directory, that was the current directory, right? If I open a file in here and then try to open another file, it should take me to my current directory where I am, which it did, right? Similarly, if I save, it's in the same directory I opened it in. The reason those directories are coming up right is because the default, when I don't know any better, is to use the current directory as the initial directory, right? But this is not, this should also have No, actually this cannot be wrong because I have to have a current directory. Oh, but my current directory, what happens when I delete the directory? In the case of the notepad thing, I can't delete a directory for a file that I've opened, right? If I go to it's done, bring it back. If I go here and do that, okay, no problem. I get out of here. I can't delete this directory now, right? Because this program has it locked. It has the file and the directory locked. So you're not allowed to delete that directory because this is open in here. The regular notepad doesn't do that. This notepad doesn't do that, and I should be able to delete it. Oh, okay. Doesn't tell me which program, but I'm really sure it's this. I don't think, I know the file's not locked. It'll come out gray if it's locked. It's not locked. So I can do this and save it, right? Now if I was doing something in the notepad and save, oops, what I'm getting now is not what I saved, but what the other program saved. My thing will only allow one instance of it to do any editing. This instance can't do it. It can read it, but it can't do any editing. It's prevented from doing that, and we saw before why that can be useful. Okay, see ya.